Say, what's the name of that place that flies fresh every day from Tokyo? Let's do that tonight.
Hey,
Where'd you come from?
it's some pretty strong stuff, baby. No, I went back and looked at that little insurance agreement you sent over. The one that was so important for me to sign.
Okay, so
It was very educational.
tonight is
For example, did you know
August the
that
19th,
doubling double
2025,
double payout
and
reduces those guys in the accident?
I just came back in from being out,
Of course you did.
and
Really like that.
I definitely need to address my behavior, my language, and I am really calling out my progress, and getting ahead and being, who God has called me to be. I definitely went out today and I did not act like a child of God at all. And I need to address that. I need to ask, ask myself questions and write tonight with the purpose of trying to ask God for wisdom and help and really set some boundaries for myself. Number one, I never typically, I asked myself today, why was I so calm in California, and I was a lot more, hands on in the situation, but I was not easily offended like I am in Georgia. And I asked myself why. And that's because in in California I didn't give myself the opportunity. I didn't rely on my own strength or think that just because I prayed enough at home, I have enough. I I don't have enough. I can't do anything without God, including go to Dollar Tree and come back. So I used to go out in California and I always had my music on. And I think because when I have went out before and had my music on, it was cut off. They would cut it off. And sometimes they would do it to keep a signal from coming through to my device, just in case someone was shopping. So I was happy about that, but then I was not happy because it took away that serenity that I was trying to build, that safe haven, that space that I was trying to build in my mind, that I can go out and be in the store and don't feel anxious, don't feel like I need to leave, don't feel, you know, agitated. Like when I go out to the store and I'm in the store, they will aggravate me. Even if they are not shopping, they will aggravate me with words, with letters, with um,
My husband, he's not breathing. I came home and I thought,
um, slogans that are very familiar to me,
there's a bottle
and they will aggravate me with wheelchairs, with um, roller carts, those things that you get in and you roll around. And Marta does a lot. They go everywhere I go with handicaps. Everywhere I go, Marta is there with the handicap van. Everywhere I go. If I go out today, if I look for it, it will be there. If I go to Walmart, they go and they park in the front, and they do it. What, my TV cut off? So I don't like to. Hold on, let's see what happened here. So I don't like to. Um, I don't like to go out to the store. Some stores are worse than others, and that depends on the location. Of course, if you're in a ghetto environment, it is going to be worse because the scouts are ghetto, more ratchet. You go to Roswell, they're not gonna less than likely be in Dollar Tree in Roswell with a Death Row T-shirt on and with a pistol 44, or and then driving one of the cars, and then you know mean mugging or have some other type of affiliation, which could be uh, any number of things. But understanding, rewinding all of this back to the beginning, let's start from the beginning. In 2000 and maybe 2020, somewhere in there. Actually, before then, but I'm trying to think. It was the first time I was by myself. I was somewhere near. I'm trying to think. I wasn't with Ketchup, and why was I by myself? And it was before 2020. I'm trying to think of why I was by myself, and I was near Easter's house, It was in Evans, Georgetown, where Easter lived, and it was a white man, and he was in a truck, and the tag, he blocked me, like he parked catty corner, and I didn't know what it meant, and I just went around. He let me go know what it meant, what, but I clearly it was a message, like a real message, a real word, and so that's when it started. It started at that point, and I never thought about it anymore. And then after that, when I saw another one and then saw another tag, I just got conditioned to them. And then it started to seem like some kind of um, private conversation, like a code, uh, like we had our own language, except this conversation was only one sided. And so I started to see them. I've seen warrant, I've seen freeze, I see a cop too, I've seen um, get to going, I've seen move, I've seen so many words that they didn't just go with the environment. They just wasn't there like you see a tag on a car of your favorite team. They went with a scenario. So it was a tag. You would get a message on your phone, and then you would get a tag. You would get a message, and then you would get something. If the TV was on, then you would get it on there, and then it would always be three, so that you know that this is official. And then I used to jive and say that you always know when the law is talking to you because they are just almost just like God. You know when they're talking. You don't ever have to worry and think that did that you know when they're talking to you. So it started out like that. And then the first time just I was just like shocked. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know why I got it. I just got a message and I didn't even know what to do. Just I don't even know. I don't know. I wasn't scared. I just was I don't know. I think now I was conditioned to the abuse and misconduct, and it was never reported at that time because I had already been to prison before. And so anytime that you go to prison or get entangled with the law in any type of way, you are conditioned to their abuse, and in a way you feel as if they are entitled because they do carry this authority and they have the authority in the world. So when you get abused by police, it's hard to fight because they all stick together. And so this is why it's just an unspoken accepted behavior because they and they are accustomed to it, and if you tell, it will get worse. So I think when I saw it, I just accepted it because I had been to prison before and I still felt in some way incarcerated. What happened to Corey, I still that I deserved it. I felt deserving of the abuse that I got from them. And so it just went on until it got worse. It went from messages on the tag. It went from, and mind you, I am not doing anything wrong. You know, Ketchup gave me a great life. You know, at this point, I was very happy with Ketchup. He was good looking. He had enough to give me the life that I wanted. He probably wouldn't have met a Kardashian standard, but he met mine. He gave me everything that I wanted. I felt rich. I felt, loved. I had what I wanted, what was enough for my black culture, for me to be successful in my eyes and in the eyes of my peers. I felt great. I felt great. I felt terrific. I loved him. Here is this nice man. I mean, I didn't even know that he was only 28 when we got married. I mean, when we got together until like a couple of days into our, conversations, because he was so mature, and he had owned a home already, and he had 4 kids, and he had already been married. So who would have been thinking that this is a guy 18 or 19 years old doing this back then? Nobody would think that. So I was thinking that he was older than me. He carried himself so well. And then he had this prominent position in church. So he was great. Ketchup was great. And but he was strict. He was old fashioned and set. And I remember when we first met, I just kept saying, "Get your feet off my neck. God, Lee," you know. But he gave me a wonderful life. I mean, I progressed in every sense of the word. Here it is. I met him. I was living at 505 13th Street downtown. I hated it, but I loved my cute little apartment. And my friend Pam Dean worked in the office. And so I met Ketchup. We got married. I had been celibate for a little while. And I fell hard and in love with him. I loved him. Like that man was, he was like a dream. I wrote about him. Hold on a second. I gotta pause this so I can turn my thing on. So I had everything that I wanted. Um, when it came down to Ketchup, we moved. I was at 505 13th Street. We moved from there. We met around April, and we got married in July. Vonna and Tiff invited me to church on January the 6th of 2012. That's a significant date. If you add that up, that's a date. So that was a divine appointment at that day. I went to church, and I was of the state at all. And I was smoking weed, and Nico was running away, and I was just like over it. And so my family, Tiff and Vaughn, called me. Vaughn called me with Tiff on the phone, and Tiff said, "Hi," and then Vaughn was like, "Hi, Puss," and I said, "Hi, Puss," and then she said, "Would you like to go to a church tonight at Robert Turner's church? Jarrell Solomon is going to be there, and he is a major prophet, and he is calling out people's names, and you need to be there." So I said, all right, I'll go. And so Vaughn, I, and Tiff, we all went to church together. I met them there, and we went to church, and we sat together. And that first night, it was on video. I had it. January the 6th of 2012. I went to church, and Ketchup was there, and he had on this brown long sleeve, nice collared shirt, but it wasn't a button down. It was a kind that the older men wear with like jeans and nice quarter boots. He had those on, and he looked so good. And he had like his arms were so big, and his stomach. I mean, he looked like Superman. And so he stood up there. He was singing "Such Your Love." Couldn't find nobody. And I was like, oh my God. And so that night, Jarrell Solomon preached about, Elijah and Elisha. So he preached that night, and he kept saying, and I just liked how he said the name. And so I had never, ever liked anybody in church. And so I prayed that night. I said to myself, I had a laptop, a Seuss laptop, and we were doing the secret. Vanna, Jimmy, and myself, we were friends, BFFs. So we were secret. So I did mine. Everybody had to write out what they wanted. So I wrote out Ketchup. I described him to the T. And so everything I did, I mean, I said I wanted him young enough to play with my children, to be athletic, to play basketball, to be muscular, to be a little darker than me, to have a low haircut, to be really well built, to be, nice and this, that, and other. I don't want all that drama. I don't want, he had everything. So he appeared, he manifested. And so I was excited. So we got married. I met him that night at church, and I prayed that night and said, God, why can't I have an Elijah in my life? And so we did. And so, because I really had a crush on this guy that I really liked, but he was a bad boy, and so, and the bad boys never wanted that. They say they want the good girl, but they really don't want the good girl. You know what I'm saying? And so I had a crush on him, but he was a bad guy, and God just didn't have that in my plan. So I got somebody else, and moved on with Ketchup. And so, but I took a break after that. So Ketchup and I get together. Nico is running away. Nico is ran away about 52 times. And I'm just over him. So he's not went to jail. When I met Ketchup, Nico was in jail. And no, Nico was there, and when he first met Ketchup, he said something very shady, very disrespectful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as if I was with somebody else. I think he said, is this the dude that you was telling me? Or is this the guy? What's your name again? Like, he was very, very shady. So, long story short, Nico went to GJJ, and then Ketchup and I got married. So this was January when we met, and then April when we got married. And then when we got married, we stayed in at 505 13th Street for a while. And then we went on and moved to 801 Chicopee Road, apartment 105 in Columbia, South Carolina. So he took me from that 2-bedroom apartment to now we're in a 3-bedroom apartment. So I am very happy about that. So we're now in a 3-bedroom. It's bigger. I have a lot more room. I have a kitchen, a den. A kitchen, a dining room, and a little den. I'm grateful. It's nice. Our room is big. It's much nicer. I got carpet. I like it. I love the area where he has me at. On Creekside. I'm very happy. So we go from there to after we go from there, we go to from Creekside. We go from there. We go to 121 Woodspur Road in Irmo. So we went from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom. Now we're in a 3-level house at 121 Woodspur Road in Irmo. So we're graduating. And then as I'm moving up in my house, in my housing, I'm moving up in my car too. So I went from driving a 2004 Taurus to driving a 2006 was a 2006 Lexus. Then I went from the Lexus to driving a 2010 Lexus. And then from driving the 2010 Lexus, I went to driving the Land Rover. And so once I was driving the Land Rover, then I went to driving the 2017 Dodge Ram, and then went to driving the 2016 Chevy Impala. So he was taking me up at each time. So we moved from 121 Whisper Road to 2182 Walker Solomon. And then that was a brand new house. It was like a year old. And it was 3 bedrooms. It was upstairs and downstairs. And it was just him and I in Harvard. It was Harvard there? No, I don't think I had got Harvard yet. Not yet. So we lived there, just him and I, just me and him. And we lived there, and I loved everything about it. I just didn't like the location all that well, but the house was perfect. I loved it. Enjoyed the entire time there. It was brand new all the way through. So he took me from there to now we're going to 242 Quiet Grove Drive. And I have arrived. And if I had have known TD Jakes' message, because TD Jakes has always been a part of my life, and I've been listening to him for years. But I didn't hear this message that he did until after it was too late. When he said, you don't, success and your arrival don't look like what you think. Like you think when you get all of this that you're going to feel like you've arrived. You don't feel like that. You feel like you need to do something. Like in looking back at my life on Quiet Grove Drive, I think I'm gonna catch up and say thank you. Like I don't care what went on. I don't care what went on. I still want to say thank you because I had he took me on multiple vacations there, staycations, just to do something. I went to Folly Beach. I went to Myrtle Beach multiple times. Um, every time I did good in school, he got me a new bag. Um, I did. I had always drove really nice, and our house was not in a cheap neighborhood. The houses started in the beginning part of the neighborhood. They started at around 250, and then towards the back they were 6, 7, maybe more because they were custom built. So the in the back they're 3, 4,000 square foot homes, and they're custom built as you go. So we lived in a neighborhood that was people were buying the lots and building as they went. So we didn't live in a cheap neighborhood. And in Lexington, the people are predominantly white. So we lived on our street. A black lady moved across from us towards the end, but we were the only, well, and Marie was the only ones in that area. Everybody else was white. So looking back at that time, I had arrived and didn't know it. I had arrived and did not know it. Did not know how blessed I was because of what was going on. What was going on in the relationship at that time to like where it was as far as the material things that I had, as far as reaching our goals, as far as really being happy. But I think in the inside, I was still carrying those tags. I was still not free in the inside, and I never felt free. And I think somewhere psychologically, I said, because this happened to Corey, I won't get a chance to live my life until he gets out and I pay him back. And then I will get a chance to have life. And that was how I had settled it. That until I could get him situated and happy, I would just be his slave, so to speak. I would just let him run over me and do whatever he do. I would let him talk to me any kind of way. I would put up with everything he did because I deserved it. And so subconsciously, that's what happened. And that's what I did. So, but by the time we had moved to Quiet Grove, Corey had already gotten out. But it was not the best time because I had just got diagnosed with sarcoidosis. So the timing and all of that medication that racist chipmunk had me on had my nerves up and down. I gained 30 pounds in 2 weeks. And when I went out to pay a bill, when I walked in the store, the lady said, "Oh my God." She could not believe, like she couldn't even hold back the reaction. If they were to pull her today, she would say, "That is true." I said that when I looked at her because of the weight gain, how I looked, and everything that was going on. But they all knew me to be happy go lucky, very privileged, catch up, buys her whatever she wants type thing. And she is spoiled and she don't work, and her husband is just he do whatever. And they live nice and she drive nice and everything. She pretty and he pretty. And so everybody saw us like that. Even in my family, everybody saw us like that. Chrissy, like he start, he's very handsome and built. I was nice looking. They are a pretty couple. You know what I'm saying? So I used to hate that I could not have children, even though I didn't want any more. But I felt that Ketchup was so handsome and I was pretty. I just, I dreamed. I wanted it so bad. I actually dreamed about a little girl and what she might look like. And she was gorgeous. And I woke up one morning and told him about it. So, long story short, we are advancing in our relationship, and I am very happy about it. And I am, I'm looking forward to it. We have struggles, but I'm never seen him and I getting a divorce. Even though we said and we went through a lot of stuff, I still never saw myself being without him. He was perfect to me, like perfect. Like I don't know of a better man that I would get. Even though he had some issues, I was married. I don't want to get a divorce from him. I'm going to make it work because the way he looks in the Land Rover when he get in, and his like, it wasn't just about looks. It was about him having that quality that I have, that whatever we say, we get it done. And he is the only guy that I've met that had that quality that I have. He was just like me. And so that was what I was most attractive to him about. It was that inner drive that he had, that go getter personality, you know. And so I used to love it. And he would say that he was going to do this and it would happen. So we are at this place. We have a very quiet ground, was very nice and very nicely decorated. I went to, you know, I'm getting my stuff from rich people's houses because they are putting stuff on Craigslist. And so I'm constantly rotating and changing out my stuff, especially if it came from somebody rich. I definitely want the name brand stuff in my house. So I had, Thomasville, I've had, Bassett, I've had Wit Ash, I've had what you call it, the mattresses. I had probably a $15,000. I think it was over that. If I seen that they had something better than mine or it costs better than mine, that's going to and I'm going to sell mine. So I was always doing that. So when it came down to furniture, I would always say, you ain't buying nothing that ain't never been in my house, because I had it first, because it was nice enough for me to get. I'm always shopping for myself. Until Ketchup told me one time, I'm not changing the bed anymore. Because we got this bed from this man that owned a major security company. The man was very rich. And he wasn't very rich, but he had money. And so the man sold us this bed that looked like something that would be on a movie. And the bed took 4 guys just to do the headboard. This is not even with the poles. This is just the middle part of the bed. Took 4 men coming up those stairs. So Ketchup said, I'm not moving nothing else. That's it. And that wasn't true, because we got in that bed that night and it was a queen. And I said, this is not going to work. And he said, you're right, it ain't. And so the bed was bad and I loved it, but I'm used to my king, and Harvard got to be in here sometimes, and me and you, and this ain't going to work. So he said, all right, what we going to do? We get another one. So, but that wasn't hard to do because I had all my rooms are decorated. So I just swap one out, take the king from there and bring it in here. And then what we'll do is I'll find me another one just as nice because I gotta have one. So it took me a while to sell that bed, but I ended up selling it. So, and now that I know how to, I struggled so bad because that man had messed up that interior. And it took me the longest to figure out how to do it. And now all I don't know why it never dawned on me to pop that insert out of that bed. I could have got so much money for that bed, but it never dawned on me to do that because I was just so busy at that time. And it never dawned on me to really do that. And plus, catch up and then put the bed up. And they wasn't going to move it for me to do that anyway. So that's probably why it never dawned on me to look into the back of the bed. But any bed that you get, this bed, and it had upholstery right here, that's only an insert. And if you go to the back of that bed, it will be screws. And you pop that insert out and you just wrap it back in fabric and pop it back in. I got that bed, not that bed, but I got the bed before we left South Carolina in June of 2018. Maybe a little bit before that. I got a bed from the other side of Columbia. I'm trying to think of what they call the other side of Columbia. It's where the black people live. But the well-to-do black people, they're not poor. I'm trying to think of what they call it. But I went over there, got it, and they had money. But they were military. The house was brand. They had money, and the bed cost like at least $4,000. At least. It was the king canopy bed with the the big iron thing in the middle. It was that. I always wanted that bed. Matter of fact, it's a picture of me in a furniture store on the bed. I always wanted that bed. That lady had that bed on Craigslist for $100. Me and Ketchup flew out there. And her son had took a knife or something and had picked the middle of it. And she said, I don't want it anymore. And you can have two if you give me another 75 or 100. You could take the whole bedroom set. Child, I thought I had no one. It took us 2 trips to get that. That's how big that bed was. Honey, I was happy as a faggot in prison. We got that furniture. I got the bed. I was excited. I was happy. We brought it home and then lived happily ever after until we moved. And I hated to get rid of that bed because Ketchup said we was not going to go to North Carolina and come back. We making one trip. So that meant that I had to give up my dream bed and that mattress that was 36 inches thick, like this. And so I didn't have a choice. And that kind of stuff, Ketchup got his word was that's final. So he wore the pants in the house, contrary to what people want to say. Ketchup only let me go as far as that leash was gonna go. When he got tired or didn't want to do something, Ketchup ain't gonna do it. Ketchup is not weak, and he ain't no punk, and he ain't no pushover. You ain't gonna do nothing with Ketchup that Ketchup don't want. That's a fact. I don't care who you are. Ketchup don't even talk about his own mouth. God can't even make Ketchup do something if he don't want to do it. That's what they're talking out his own mouth. So we went and we had this. So I'm still carrying this process because this abuse is going on at this time, and it's getting worse. So this is where the problems. This is why I couldn't relax. Why I was having trouble with being, I was thriving. I mean, I don't get me wrong. South Carolina, I went through hell. My marriage was going through hell. Ketchup and I made some wonderful money over there, enough to sustain our household. Um, to pull up outside and you see a Land Rover, a Lexus, the truck, and the Impala in the yard, the nice car. She got a poodle. You know, it was great. The problem came in with the tax, the abuse, me feeling like I am over here in South Carolina, and if I do a whole lot over here as far as with being successful and money and all this, then what are they going to think? Are they going to think? I mean, I actually sat down and told Ketchup, I don't want to sell furniture no more. And he said, why? And I said, because there has to be something wrong with this. And then he said, why do you think that? And I said, because why ain't nobody else just as smart as me, Ketchup? And then he was like, are you serious? And I said, I don't understand how I just went to Goodwill and paid $30 for this and I sold it for $800. Don't that make me a bad person? And he said, no, that makes you a genius. Doesn't make you a bad person. And I said, well, why wouldn't somebody else go to Goodwill and get it for $30 then and sell it for $800? I don't know. They were making me feel like a crook. And I think they were making me feel like that because my family was not, at first, they were all happy. And when they finally came to my house to see it in South Carolina, they was like, oh, Chrissy got it going on. You know what I'm saying? Look at Chrissy, and then it went from, when I had got a store. The guy had gave me 3 buildings rent free, 5,000 square feet each building to do as I pleased. And I don't have no competition on Two Notch Road. There's only one black competitor. The rest of my competitors are white. Because this was primarily white people thing in South Carolina. White people are the ones that do the thrifting over there. They got it hands down. It's their world. So here it is, this black girl comes along and I'm young and I got pretty stuff and it's selling. And it's selling because the competitors are coming to see, because I'm not selling it like them. They done been in it too long. They go in there, that's their family shop. They done inherited it from their granddaddy. They going in there selling it and they sitting up in there all day long and waiting. I don't have time for that. I put my money on this. I want my money back. This is in my garage. I ain't got no store. And I just spent my money on it and I want my money back right now. So I'm not going to buy nothing that ain't going nowhere. And I know what people want. And I know what will get. I know how to appeal to my audience. I knew what my audience was, what my customer base was. And so I knew that anything that you do in a black finish or mocha and you put a nice comforter set on it, you could get any woman, I don't care how much money she got. Once you get her to say, ooh, that's sold. That's it. Wow them. So I knew that was it. My mama was an interior decorator. So I had the cutting edge on furniture. Took my furniture, I decorated it. I staged it. I took wonderful pictures. The pictures is what's going to get you to sell. But when I'm out in the public, I would put my stuff out on the curb, and I was pretty and my husband is pretty. And when the women stop, you talk to them. When the men stop, I talk. But we don't get them. And then if you can't get them, throw them back this way. And it's pretty stuff out here. And so they would say, this is so nice. And you got it for this because I only paid $40, $50 from Goodwill. But it didn't look like this at Goodwill. See, that's the thing that Ketchup was telling me. Yes, baby, you bought it from Goodwill, but when it came into Goodwill, it had one leg, it had holes in it, it didn't have a cushion. You did this, baby. Goodwill didn't have this. You did this. Goodwill had junk. That's why you got it for $30. You saw the potential in it. They might have a dresser in there. I go and look. They have a dresser in there, and it ain't got no knobs on it. It might be missing a leg. It didn't need to be refinished. I can look at that and see $250 in that. Nobody else can't see that. So it sits there. They might say, oh, we'll let you have it for $10 because we don't have it for legs. I know what the legs are. I know that Lowe's sell those draw pulls for $1. You could even make draw pulls. I made draw pulls before from thread bobbins. So I knew what would sell and what wouldn't and what took money. And so Ketchup was saying, you people are buying into that. They're not buying what Goodwill had, baby. They buying what you did, how you took it and you painted it and you stained it and you put draw pulls and you put legs on it. So Goodwill ain't got nothing to do with that no more. But I still felt like they were like, why don't nobody else go to Goodwill? Then I started seeing them. So then I called an attorney. I still was feeling some kind of way because South Carolina had me scared to death with in terms of being over there fooling with crazy white people in South Carolina. They had me scared to death. So I was not trying to be doing nothing wrong and nothing illegal over there in South Carolina. I never wanted to actually go back to South Carolina ever after 2008. But we got married, and that's the first place where Ketchup wanted to go. So I went reluctantly. And it just so happened that 801 Chicopee Road was on Broad River Road, which was down the street from the feds and right there at Broad River prison, which was where you come in first when you're sickening. You come in first you go in. Why? I don't want to see that. You go through the men's prison first to get processed, and then they send you out. Weird. So you go Broad River Road, and then you get processed, and then you go wherever they're going to you. Is after 2008, I didn't want to go back there anymore. So I'm there and I'm very successful, but I'm afraid. And I'm afraid because I am too successful here and they are racist and they're not forgiving. So the very first thing that they're going to say is, because when I first got over there, I was still on probation. And I had Miss Nasty Rice. I will never forget it. I used to leave there and I would be crying. And I went there in my Lexus. And I called Ketchup and he was at work and I was crying. And he said, what's wrong? And I said, the lady told me I can't write no book. And I said, you told me to write a book, and that lady said I can't write no book. And he said, why? And I said, she said, who you think you are? You can't write no book. And so I was like, and I cried. And Ketchup said, "You don't let her tell you." He has such a, you don't let them tell you who you are. You're a child of God. You do this and that. That's just an evil spirit, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay. And so I cried. And God delivered me from her. I'm trying to think of what happened. I think, oh, I wrote the court. That's what it was. I wrote the court. And I wrote the court and asked for the restitution to be suspended and moved because there was um, no, there was no, what do you call those people? There was no victims. And so the judge said, well, we're going to send out a letter. And if it comes back, then we did. So the companies came back and said, we're not interested. We don't want nothing because they gone out of business and we doing this now. We not interested. We don't want nothing from her. She's good. So the judge said, well, if they not, I'm not. So I was free. So what got me free from Miss Demonized Rice was I think I just completed it or the judge terminated it, one of the two. But either way, it was done. So after that, and that lady was so evil and mean, she is not fit to be in that field. It's not a good field for her. Um, so I moved on, and then I started. That's when I started. We get to 801 Chicopee Road, and Ketchup tells me that I let you quit your job so that you can focus on who God told you to be. That's what you need to be doing. That's why you in the house all day. So I wanted to follow my husband. So I started the praise report. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. If I was to do the praise report in Atlanta, honey, and Easter did my jingle, and it said, the praise report goes better with coffee. And it was like so cute. It was so cute. And I think maybe that's where the squirrels came from. I don't know, because that was the first time, believe it or not, that I saw the squirrels. I don't know why, because that was not my slogan. But now that I'm thinking about it, that was the first time that I saw the squirrels when I did the praise report. So I did the praise report, and this is big. This is another big idea. This is big. Everybody like it. You got a newspaper with nothing but good stuff. It had nothing but good news, miracles, recipes, crossword puzzles, inspirational stories, your artist of the month, your feature of the month, and you still got your ads. So here's the law. They started bothering with the praise report. And so the same white man from 2018 went to Food Lion when he saw me coming, and I had paid to get those papers printed, and nobody else would print them when you're not at least 50,000 in circulation. They won't do newspaper print, but I got these printed out of Chicago, and that's where that state came from into the works. They tried to contaminate it, but it wasn't. It was just I never went there. It was strictly over the phone and through email. They printed them and sent them to me and put me on a net 90, I think. So I'm doing the praise report, and everybody loves this. Everybody is saying this is such a good idea. And again, there were those tags. The tags were still going. The more I got to be successful, the more tags I saw. The more I did good, the more tags I saw. The more money that I was exposed to, the more tags I saw. So the white man that I call Curious George, he took all of my papers and put them in the trash just before I walked in. So everything that I had was in the garbage. And it hurt my feelings so bad. I cried. And I called, catch up. It was as usual, my sounding board. And I said, someone put all my papers in the trash. And so he was like, baby, just get them out of the trash. And it's okay. You got to expect for the devil to do stuff to aggravate you when you're doing stuff good. And he would just constantly keep pushing me out there for that white man to chop my, you know, hit me in the back of my neck whenever he got a chance. It just was never, Ketchup kept pushing me out to win, and the white man kept slapping my hand every time I reached for the bananas. And so I couldn't stand that white man, and today I asked God to forgive him, and I don't want to have anything in my heart. But he came again. It's not his first time. He's a stalker. He came again in 2018. He came to the furniture store. Same yellow shirt. I think he don't change. He has all that money and to wear the same hunting uniform. That's why I call him Curious George. He wears a yellow shirt, cotton tucked in, and he got a big belly, and he walked with his hands behind his back, and he don't look at you in your face at all because you're a nigger. And he looks down and he just asks you questions as if somebody done told him that he got a right for a goddamn answer. But somewhere in me felt that he's white, he's superior to you. So you have to answer him because somewhere in my mind, I was still in bondage. I never got out of prison in my mind, and I never got free in my heart. So when I recognized the abuse, I just succumbed to it. It was I never got free. I never got over the trauma because when I got out of prison, they had me going so fast. None of them ever registered. I got out in '08. Mommy died in 10. What is his name? Mommy died in 10. What's his name? Dina died in 11. Diddy died in 12. Corey was gone. Everything happened. I didn't have any time to register any trauma. It was, you just got to keep going. And so the only good time I had when I came home is when I got the job at the Greens on Washington. And I was doing so well there that that was as equal to a trauma just on the other side, because now I'm making all of this money, but I still can't help my son. So I don't really want to really live this wonderful life because I'm not getting to live it with my son, and I can't get him out either. So I still don't really get to enjoy life. So in the process of this, that white man with that big stomach came back, and he always walks with his hands behind his back. And he's tall, and he has blonde hair. And he holds his hands behind his back, and he holds them together, and he said, where'd you get first from? He never introduces himself. He never says hello. Yeah, where you get yours from? How many papers you got in circulation? You know you're supposed to have, and then he quotes all of the laws to you as if you want to hear them, or as if you're writing them down, or as if you're going to get tested later, or as if you're breaking a law because he's reading you a sanction or an order. And he used to do it, and he was there again in 2018 twice. So he comes to the furniture store, and I see him, and I get like, just, I'm not afraid. I just never feel like I had the right to just ignore his ass. Like, I was afraid to ignore him. Like, to walk, I was afraid to be Crystal and say, don't ask me no questions, because I did not know what he was capable of doing. And somebody might say, well, you must have been doing something. No, it was not that. It was strictly because when I went to prison in '04, it was so traumatizing that I never got over it. I never got over all those doors slamming, and the stuff that people would say, and how they treated people, and the inhumane way of living. I never got over it. Like, some people can just keep doing it. I wasn't one of them. I wasn't. I'm not gonna do this. Is rap. And so, and that was what I said when I went to parole. No one else, by the way, in South Carolina made parole with me that day, but me and I think a guy. Alert. Ding 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 ding. I made it. So I said, when I went before the parole board, they said, because everybody has said nobody makes parole in South Carolina. South Carolina don't let nobody out. So I went and I said, well, they ain't let nobody. They're going to let me out today. So they said, well, man, why should we let you out? What have you done for the blah, blah, blah? And I said, honey, because y'all, I said, this is not my life. And I have had so much time to consider my ways and my time. This is not my life. And I want to regain my independence so I can make a significant contribution to society, because this is not right, and God has plans for my life. I went in there and the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and the people said, parole granted, quick. They ain't even have to deliberate. Everybody else, they say you got to deliberate. Them people said, parole granted, girl, you are out. And then that's when the law said, no, you're not. We just gonna say that and get you to come up here and get dressed. But no, you're not. But we're not gonna talk about that. So moving forward, I went, and I never felt free. I never felt forgiven. I never felt I never felt redeemed. I never felt liberty. I never felt that I was, I never felt that I was, you know, equal to. I used to tell my niece all the time I felt like a second class citizen. I didn't feel like I had the rights to everybody, like everybody else, to live and be happy and be peaceful and have all these. I didn't feel that way. I felt in bondage, and I felt inferior. That even though I was pretty, even though I had catch up, I felt like I was still holding this dark past over my head, because of my children, and because of um, just of what was going on in my life. So I never felt that. So moving forward, I never got out of that. So understanding where that is and how that affects me now, I think that it is a pile up injustices that nobody said I'm sorry for. That when I go out today and I look at the world and I sit on the tree, no, you might not get beat in a field, but it's other things you can do that's just as bad, that will leave just as much of a lasting scar as getting lynched and taking somebody's kid at 12 years old when they can't do nothing about it and doing it because we're white. Shut up. Blow your head off. That 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 you're up against a unified colorized system. You don't have to see white people got something that black people have. They got unity. You don't have to go to nobody on the board and they be white. You can go to individual white people and they will know what the system is and they don't have to say nothing and they gonna stick together. You can go to a private, you go to a board, you go to a meeting, you go to a room, it doesn't matter. They gonna all know that the answer is no. We the ones in our culture that's divided. White people not divided. So when it came down to my son, I called the lawyer and said, you know, this happened, blah, blah, blah. I know territory, and we not fighting for no rights of no nigga down here. We not gonna spend money on that. So I'm left with the emotional scar of that. Wounds can heal. They lynch you, your back will heal. You might have them scars for the rest of your life. That man can die to hit you and then you say he got what he deserved. But my son still never got justice. And then if you say something about it, that's when the emotional scars are opened again. Because if you say something about it, they don't care. They don't care. The world is not real in terms of these people in these positions are not fighting for no niggas. We don't have time for that. We fight for what we want to fight for: border, health care, gun control, tax cuts. But it's, if you listen to the campaigns, ain't nobody else saying that we gonna give more rights and equality to Negroes. You're not. Who cares about a Negro? Who gives a fuck? So if I was to say, Well, I want to talk about what happened to my son, and I want to talk about what happened to me, and I want to talk about what I saw. They take, it's like what I feel in that regard. Thank you, Lord, for giving me the way to express this in a way that it could be, because I was trying to measure my pain and I was trying to give words to my pain. And for all of these, and I couldn't say what it was because I didn't know what I felt. And what it is I felt that I was hit by the white man. And every time he hit me, he wouldn't, he taped my mouth so that I couldn't say ow. So every time I went through these different phases of abuse, I never had a voice to say anything. I just had to take it. It was no voice, it was no life, it was no way out. It just went on and it just went on. And Augusta don't care nothing about this. Augusta don't care nothing about no black niggas, no boys. Put them coons in prison and let them rot. And let them fight their way out. And if they don't know how to fight their way out, if they don't know how to access the legal system, then they will stay their dumb, retarded black asses in there for the rest of their life. That's what it is. Nobody don't want to say that, but that's what it is. It is that. Is that. Nobody don't want to say that it's not because nobody don't want to tell the truth, but it is that. It is that. They don't care. Because if they cared, they would do what I said. And they would put an app in prison and give those boys cell phones so that they can learn and be up to date when they get out. Or they could give them tablets with phones on them that only can go to the numbers that they do. And then they could put the law library on there so that when you're sentenced to these egregious amount of years given by these white racist judges, that these prosecutors know who to put. So when they go and get these long lengths of time, they know they don't know how to fight the federal law. Why do you really think federal law is so complicated? Because it is still set up around slavery so that if you are deprived of this education, you could prefer it that way because we don't want these coons walking around in the street anyway. We're halfway scared of these niggers and we think that they're going to do the most anyway. So put their dumb black asses in prison and let them fuck each other and get AIDS and die. That's what they really want to say, but they're not going to say that. But that's what they really want to say. Ain't no white commissioner gonna get up in no seat in Georgia fighting for no nigger. If you do, you won't be there in that seat tomorrow. They not voting for you to get up there spending them rich old white people's money on no such a shit. That's not what you're gonna do. We're not even gonna come to no rallies about that. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. No meetings, no bulletins. We're not doing any of that. That's why you see black people still what? Underfunded. That's why you still see black people in their schools with no resources. Because they don't care. The dumber you are, the more successful, the more your chances are increased of going to prison for the rest of your life. So the way the white man look at it is, you're going to stay dumb. Because if I can keep you dumb, I can guarantee that you're going to prison. And when you go to prison, I'm going to build a bunch of them. Because all I need is cages, and you're going to put your dumb ass in there for the rest of your life. And all I have to do is give you a piece of bread every now and again, and you're going to be fine. And I can make all this money off of you and go tell people I'm keeping this clean. That's their way of put all the black people in prison. Keep them dumb as fuck. Resources. You would think that really, really, really wanted to keep crime down. A rocket scientist would tell you got to build education and resources. It don't take Ray Charles can see that. That's not what the plan is. That's not the plan. It was never the plan. Ever the plan. Really want to do that. They sort of say she's a liar. It is that way we do it. Okay, well then the obvious solution is to put an app in prison, put CORE in prison, and put a legal side to that, where as soon as you're sentenced, then it will give you all artificial intelligence will show you how to build your case and do your case and to for your pleading comment on that one, and I bet you all won't get one. You get a death threat, don't get no good comment on that one, because that's too much of the truth. They got everything else on that store call for these men and these women to get in prison, but no educational product that they actually need. Put an educational product on the store market and make more money using nothing what the government already got. They already got tablets out the yin yang. They give them to you food stamps all day long. Take them and give them to the prisons and jail guard them. Get out of this old modern systemic way of this is a jail call from. Get out of that garbage. Slavery. We charge you $19.95 a month. We charge you $40 a month. We charge you $60 a month. I don't care how much you pay it. The people gonna pay it. They got access. You get the tablet regardless. If you got money, you get this access on it. If you don't, then you don't. If you got money and your family paid your $60 a month and your membership paid up, you gonna know whatever your case is. Everything is downloaded to you. It's showing you how to do everything. Everybody can go through CORE. Everybody got to do it. And it's giving them the resources that the government already got. So we're not asking you no more to take a course or to do this or do that. You don't have a choice. You got sentenced. You have what they say when you get sentenced. You have been reprimanded or you have been handed over to the Georgia Department of Corrections. Okay, for blase time. Okay, well then you got sentenced to CORE. That's what the new regulation will be. You got sentenced to CORE. We're not sentencing you anymore to the Georgia Department of Corrections. You got sentenced to CORE. Okay, what does core mean? Core is going to give you an artificial intelligent database of what your crime calls for based on everything about you and what is systemically fair. So you're not going to have no nigga sitting there no more with no ball joints around their neck with 90 years and a white man just came in there with the same crime and they know he bad as fuck, but because his daddy is a lawyer in the town, he got 2 years. The same, he in the cell with the same nigga with a ball on his neck that got 90 years for the same crime. And they saying that ain't nothing wrong with that. We really working to make everything fair. They are a liar. They are a liar. So my plan is just like this. If you're going to make money off of a black person, then the best way to do that is to do it in a win-win situation where the county and the state still makes money. But we're not allowing somebody to walk out of that prison cell door and twiddle our thumbs and wait on them to come back when you know that you have not given any resources to that life to help them. Some people, according to psychological research, all people are a product of their environment. Some people can move and leave that environment and change their ways of that life, but all people are not that mentally strong enough to do it, especially according to psychological research, if they have been a victim of trauma and on a first degree level by the time they turn uh, uh, getting the first stage of adolescence of moral and social development. Let's get your psychology books and bring a psychologist to the table. Let's go head to head with this. Let's have a conversation about what's really going on here. They laugh and they put it on a cartoon, and I laughed about it the other day. They put it on a cartoon, and the teacher on Happy Feet asked the mom and dad, "What happened to this moral and social development?" They ask that every time we go to counseling. Ask what happened between your age of birth to the age of 6, because that's how you get your moral and social makeup. That's how you become who you are. Everybody in this world, you were born with a blank canvas. You had some genetics in you that might cause or this or that, but all of that could be easily wiped out. When you got a child born, you got a blank canvas. You can make them into whatever you want to make them into. And according to psychological research, if you feed them enough and give them enough successful and build their character and build their self-esteem, they will grow up and they will flourish. Well, grown men sitting up in prison that they never said we love you. Their mamas ain't never said. Their kids is scattered. They've been on drugs all their life. So you have to do the same thing. Just because they 40 don't mean that somewhere in there they still that little boy that never got hugged and never got loved. That's why he coming out here robbing, because he never got hugged and he never got loved. So where there's a bigger thug, he needs more love, more care. And so CORE does that. Because while they're sitting in prison, it's addressing that. He's going through, just like I'm saying, going through my trauma and I'm talking it out. He's doing that same thing, and they're putting the resources there with him, build him and encourage him to give him a self-esteem so that when he comes back out into the world, when they say, "Hey man, nah, bro, I'm great. I'm straight on that, bro. I'm good. I got out and they built my business. They gave me a loan as soon as I got out." See, that's where the SBA need to have a stinking racist asses at that doggone prison. See, if I would take every man in that doggone prison and flip them. I like to term flipping the niggas. I like to use it. Racist people use it all the time. They do it all the time at home. I don't see why I can't. They say it every day. I say it too. I would take every black man over there in that, and I'll ask them, "What do you want to do with your life? Here is your electronic, artificial, intelligent vision board. I want you to do this vision board. You got 90 days to get in touch with yourself. I want you to put as much of yourself into this vision board, and artificial intelligence is going to tell me who you are. And when I find out who you are, I'm going to take that and I'm going to take the resources that my government already got, and I'm going to give them to you, and you're going to turn around and I'm going to lend these resources to you. You pay me back. See, that's how the government makes money. More money. And then what we doing, what we attaching to that? We attaching what people already like. Reality TV. We attaching research. People pay big money for research to know what people think. You got all the niggas over there in prison. You don't want to know what they thinking? And they finna come back out here on your street and you don't want to know what they thinking about? That's dumb. That's very dumb. Because you want to know, even on the level of crime, you want to know how is their minds increasing and advancing in the level of crime. You want to know everything about them because you the one that's in here for murder. You the one that's in here for rape. You the one that's in here for bank robbery. You the one that's in here for armed robbery. What they call it when you snatch somebody up? What they call it? Strong arm robbery. You the one in here for that. So we definitely want to know where your mind at. And yeah, we are paying you to do this. Really, we're not paying you, but really we are. Because we're taking resources and we're giving them to you in here. You're not going to sit up in here and eat all these honey buns and these noodles and run your blood pressure up and think that when you get your black ass out of this prison, we're going to take care of you now with Social Security because you done got gout. You done got your blood pressure up, and you think now that we're going to pay for that? See, that's what the government needs to be thinking. See, that's why they need a black person up there to tell them from a black perspective, because white people, rich people don't know how to do nothing but spend money. They do not know how to handle adversity. They're not good with that. They know how to spend money. All of their problems come with, okay, let's spend more money. That's how they handle it. That's why you look at white people and be like, you did what? Oh, we'll fix this by spending more money. No, that's not what you need to do. You need to have somebody black to show you where your money is already going and to build your money where it is. That's what they need. Black people know how to handle problems and use as less money as possible and still come up with an effective solution. We need to take the prison. You already got enough money going in there. You can take the prison and turn that into a gold mine. You got all of those empty mines up in there doing nothing but thinking about each other's dick all day. Get your gay asses into this laptop and let's figure it out. We don't have time. Won't be in there sucking dick, getting high, smoking cigarettes, eating buns, running up your blood pressure. We not turning this into a faggot institution. So then all it's doing is building the economy in a reverse way, so that you have all of these bills on the government. The government is going to have to take care of them. They not see, that's the opposite side of slavery they're not looking at yet. They think it's fun now that we put all these niggas in prison and run slavery. They're not looking at the back end. These niggas got to come out one day. You put them in there for 40 years, they got to come out one day. They ain't never let them go up for parole. They got to come out one day. And come out like a white man that had his hands behind the back that won't look up. Where I'm supposed to work, where I'm supposed to eat, where I'm supposed to go. They gonna look, oh my God, what is this foolishness we just started here? That's where they at. They don't want to say it, but I'm saying it. They don't want to say that, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. That's what they saying. Them niggas walk up out of that prison on the 15th and the 30th, and these white people sit there and say, what the fuck? They don't know. They don't know what the world will do to them. But the white man doesn't like to admit defeat. So the solution is to put education in the prison to change the trajectory of what is coming out of the prison. All you have to do is sit there and write what I don't want. And then do what you don't want. I don't want niggas coming out of here sick. I don't want them coming out of here getting on my welfare system. I don't want them coming out here doing no more crime. I don't want them coming out here gay. That's not true. But just gonna say this is what we gonna don't want them to come out here not all children and raising healthy families. We don't want that. That's not true either. But again, we're gonna speak in faith. So in that regards, if you do all of that, what you don't want, now we know all of what we don't want. What does that mean we have to do? That means if I don't want you coming out here broke, I gotta make resources for you. If I don't want you coming out here sick, I gotta make a healthy diet for you. If I don't want you all coming out here that way, I gotta make resources and education available to you, and not to the point that you even have a choice. Because their rights are already taken in a prison setting. So if they can make them do other stuff, guess what else I could do? I can make you have this exercise 3 days a week. You gotta go to this gym. You gotta go to gym. You gotta be in some type of extracurricular activity, exercise. Because what you're not gonna do is sit up in here because I'm changing that protocol. You want me getting turbo glazed honey buns up in here all night long and going to get on that phone and rubbing your stomach and farting all night after you done that. We're not doing any of that. We're not doing none of that. And if I was on the stage in the prison, them niggas would be laughing. Because they know she right. She right. She gave it to us straight gutter. No chaser. Correct. That when you get up out of here, that's what the SBA need to be headed that way. That way. We will give you this amount of funding over this amount of time as you complete this. Each phase of your business guarantees you this amount of loan. Okay, when you first come out, we're going to give you $2,500. We'll give it to you small. You qualify anyway. We'll give it to you small. You get all of this stuff done, we're going to give you $2,500 in this. This is it. You can only do this, and we're not going to give it to you in cash. That way they ain't got to worry about, oh, we took that money and went and bought dope over here to go sell. We didn't do none of that because you didn't get it like that. You got the money in any kind of business incentives that can grow your business. We gave you a $2,500 credit line. That way we building your business credit and we helping you succeed. But you won't get no cash check, bro, to go over there and take it to the dope man. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be that dumb. But we're going to give you this. Now, when you complete the next thing that we give you, the next suggestion, then we're going to build your life that up. You get $5,000 then. Your exceeded limit from the SBA may be $75,000, might be $50,000. It just depends. See, this is how you take the prison system and revert it. So that when they come out of that, they're coming out of there with hope. Oh, man, I went to prison, changed my life, man. I found that barbershop I wanted. Every nigga up in there want a barbershop. Every nigga up in there want a studio. Every nigga up in there want a grass company. Every nigga up in there want to get into real estate. Some of them niggas up in there already done had the stuff. They just got greedy and got into white collar crime. So understanding that research, what took you to crime, till now we got artificial intelligence thinking for you. Even more so that if you come in here and you let us chip you, or we let us do artificial intelligence research on you, we'll pay you while you in here. Because that way we ain't got to be worried about actually what these child molesters and they need to change that law automatically. If you mess around with children, you getting chipped. That way we know anytime you think about children, anytime you want to go, anytime you think about it, your ass is chipped. We're going to pass that law. And if you screwing with children, your ass is getting chipped. That way we ain't got to worry about you no more. We ain't got to worry about you even getting near a child, a school, because we got your ass chipped. You're out of there. We ain't got to worry about, oh, go online and register for sex. That's outdated. Your ass is chipped. Bottom line, you screw with child, you're chipped. Law is passed. Done with it. It's out of there. You do it, it's done. That way we got to worry about that no more. That's done. Now, moving forward, moving around with drugs and stuff. You want to get chipped? Then we ain't got to worry about you for these boys. We ain't got to worry about all this other foolishness stuff. If you sign up for it voluntarily, we will pay you to do it. Have to know how to use resources and money to get the things that you want. If you're not going to do no crime for it, then you don't have nothing to worry about. The chip won't affect you. It would actually help. But if you're going to get out here and think you're going to do whatever you want to do, that's not going to work out. They use the intel anyway. That's the whole point of me having this conversation. They use it anyway. Might as well pass a bill to use it legally. So that when you commit the wrong offenses, your ass is chipped. Period. That part. And we're done with it. Won't be doing that no more. Because if you even think about going to rob that bank, AI is going to be at that bank when you get there. If you even think about going near a school, going to pick up a juvenile, your ass is going to get caught before you walk out your door. Where are you going? The police are already there. This is where America is going. If I was in the seat, I would change the world in 90 days or less, and I guarantee you I will be alive and people love me. I guarantee you I will be alive, and I wouldn't have no issues with drugs either. Guarantee you that. Because I think that it's not a matter of saying that you want to do this. I don't think that it's a matter of saying that you want to do this and you want to do that. I think it's a matter of if you want to do it, if you want to do it, if you're doing it because you want to do it, or if they just talking. But if you want to do it, if you want to make these changes come about in the world, I think that's just the way it is. Now, going back to what I said, I was always in abuse. And I think that is why I never came out of it, why I never was able to call abuse for what it was, because I think I was just used to it and prone to it, and that I just never thought that I was able to do anything about it, because I think that, like I said, I felt that I deserved it. Hold on. Oh, my butt hurts so bad for sitting like that. All right. So that is part one. It's really not. I really go through my childhood. So I think I will go pee. I work myself up to talking. So I'll talk more about the abuse, and then I'll do part one of my childhood, since I just started my thing over again, and we'll go from there. So let me take and I will be right back. All right, so let's get into part one. All right, so let me start this. Let me put a date stamp on this. So this is August the 19th, 2025. And I'm starting this recording. This is part one of my testimonial, my memoir, as they say. I don't know about memoir because I think people do that like when they expected to die. I ain't going nowhere. So let's do it like this. So let's say this is part one, and let me see how I got my tablet charging up. Yeah, it is, guys. Let's do it. Things. All right, so part one. So my name is Crystal Charlotte Ketchup. I was born in Augusta, Georgia, to Joanne Bush and Alvin Bush in Augusta, Georgia, on February the 7th, 1977. That would make me 47 years old. I was born the youngest of 6 children. My mom had 5 girls and 1 boy. The oldest is my sister Sheila. The next is Easter. The next, which is Maxine. The next is Sharon. Then there's Terry. Then there's Derek. And then there's me. I was not my father's biological father. I was not my mom's husband, Alvin Bush. I was not his daughter. My mom had an affair when they came back from the state of New York, and she had me. My dad's biological father is named Donald Washington, and he is from Augusta, Georgia as well. Him and my mom were high school sweethearts, and she married my dad. And he took her to New York, and they had Sheila, Easter, Sharon, and then they came down here and had us 3, which is Terry, Derek, and then me. We all were born here in Georgia, but Sheila, Sharon, and Easter were born in New York. So my dad, Donald Washington, had epilepsy, and he passed away. God rest his soul from that. I don't remember a whole lot about him other than a train. He bought me a clear train. And now that I think of it, it just lets me see how much of how God allowed different parts of my life to be see different things at an early age, even through childhood, because that train is significant to me now. He bought me a clear train, and it would make all of little noises, and it was clear, and you could see straight through it, and it was just a lot of bright colors, and I really remember it. And I was about 3 or 4. Long story short, I wasn't allowed to have a relationship with him before he died, because that was just the agreement that my mom and dad had because it was an infidelity issue and my daddy didn't play that. And so it was the same on his end because he had cheated too and had a son. And so my mom said the same thing. So they didn't play that. You can give money and that sort of thing, but we're not doing all of that. We're not doing none of that. They wasn't doing. They didn't do it. They didn't roll like that. So you're not going in. You're not calling. We're not having all that blended. We're not doing that. So that was not happening. So when I turned, growing up as a child, it was very strict in our house. A typical day was he got up and left when it was dark, and he came back when it was dark. And he wore Dickie uniforms from Walmart. They weren't Walmart then, but he wore them. They came from Sears or J.C. Penney's back then, or another store that Sears. They went from. He bought them there. He wore the green ones. It was a green top or blue. That was the only two colors he wore. He never wore the black uniform. He wore it green or blue, and it was the top and the pants, and he wore it tucked in, and he had a thick old Santa Claus belt. And he was very short. Diddy was about 5'3", 5'2". And his pants were a size 40, and he wore about a 9.5, 10 in a shoe, and he was very handsome. Everybody knew him around as Rev. Everybody. You could pull up at any store down from Martin Luther King Boulevard, 15th Street. Everybody down there knew Diddy. And so he had a very generous heart. He would feed the homeless every time he saw them. It doesn't matter where they were, Diddy would stop and feed them. But he would also tell them that if they wanted to eat, they had to hear the word of God. And so if they agreed, then Diddy would definitely buy them whatever they wanted to eat. He was definitely doing that. We had Diddy left at 5:36 in the morning, and he came back at the same time. And he used to say over and over again, going out the door, he had a little phrase, gotta go, gotta get out of here. And I used to just love it. That meant he was going to get some money, and he was happy. He used to say it every morning, gotta go, gotta get out of here. And he didn't come back until it got dark. And if he was outside, he ain't coming in until it's dark. Daddy found something to do with every inch of daylight as he possibly could. And when he came in the house, he sat down at the head of the table, and mommy served his food. It was always something with gravy or something homemade. And she put his food down in sweet tea, and he got hot sauce and ketchup on everything. I don't care what it was, Daddy wanted hot sauce. And he would sit down and take off his shoes, and his shoes smelled to all be damned. But it didn't even matter because he wore church socks with those shoes, and they smelled horrible. But we didn't care because Diddy was everything. Diddy was everything that we needed around that house, from the plumber to the landlord, to the brick mason, to the everything. Diddy did it. And so mommy and Diddy, mommy was the homemaker. Mommy knew her place. Diddy did not play mommy working at all. And if mommy wanted to do that, it was going to be a problem. Diddy did not play working. You can own, but you cannot work. But you can own. So mommy, whatever business mommy wanted to do, you could do that, but you cannot work for nobody. You can own it. You cannot do it working under no white man. Daddy wasn't playing. So coming up, we lived very nice. We lived at 2856 Coniston Drive. That was the first house I remember. They said we lived in Barton Village first, but I don't remember that house. I was too little. But we lived at 2856 Coniston Drive, And we also lived at, and we had a big dog named Rex and Speedy. And then we also lived at 2844 Coniston Drive. We had moved up, and Daddy got us a big house. And so we always was very religious. We couldn't wear pants at one time, and then mommy let us wear pants. Mommy didn't really care about education at all. It wasn't a big deal to her. If we went to school, we went. If we didn't, we didn't. If we passed, we passed. If we did, we didn't. We didn't. She didn't. She was not that type that was really. I don't ever remember her being really big on grades. You know, you didn't get if you made an A. Mommy didn't. That must not be to mommy. If you had all A's, you liable to see that progress report down there as a dustpan and mommy sweeping up trash on it to put it in that. And mommy didn't care about stuff like that. Bless her heart. I don't even blame her because it wasn't big in her culture in her family. So she didn't care about it. If you succeeded, you did. But if you didn't, then in the kitchen anyway because you're a woman. And in fact, that was her advice to me when I was turning 17. You know, I was a guy across the street that asked me to marry him, and mommy said, he got a good job and he got money, you need to go ahead. And I said, I don't like him now. And she was like, doesn't matter. She said, you need to get somebody that love you and not somebody that you love, because a man that love you gonna always take care of you. And that's what her sentiments was with marrying Daddy. And so that's why she always lost a toenail. And that's too. How? And it's on the same toe too. And so that's what made that so relevant, actually. And so mommy had said, yeah, we not gonna do that. So long story short, she that's what her advice was. So coming up, we were very religious and a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety as a teen because of all of the arguments that I heard, all of the weird way that we came up. And I'm grateful for my mom and dad's way of teaching me the Bible. But they were definitely extremists. We had at 2856 Coniston Drive, we had pews in the living room, burgundy and white. There was no cable TV and all that in there. No, none of that's in there. Those are pews. Yep, just like you see at church. They were burgundy with white sides, and they had a pulpit, and Daddy used to get up in there, and it was an organ, and Sharon had to play it. In fact, Sharon did not play it one time, and Daddy threw a glass and hit her in her ear, and it was bleeding. So Daddy was very violent, but only if you don't do what he said. And he's only going to tell you once, and the next time something's going to be flying across the room. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be the air conditioner. It could be a bottle. It's whatever. He's going to start looking for something, and then you just don't see it. Just something's flying, and then he's talking because he's not going to tell you. You're not going to know. You're just not going to know. Daddy don't say. He never said to us, "You're finna get a whipping." That's never happening. That's never happening. You don't know what is on his mind because he doesn't say. He was a man of very few words. But if Daddy whooped you, you just would have rather died because he didn't have no structure. It was no pattern. It was no. He whooped you with the opposite side of the belt. So most people would hold a belt like he would. You could tell he was from slavery days. The way Daddy used to whoop. Like Daddy used to hold the belt at the buckle and used to swing the whole belt. So you could tell in his mind he had went through something with slavery because that's how he whooped us. I never got a whoop, thank God, but that's how Daddy whooped. So if I saw him whooping somebody, he slung the belt like that, the whole long belt. You know what I'm saying? Like it like a whoop. So Daddy had some deep psychological issues, but he was a fantastic man, provider. He definitely had some issues, and that's not what we're getting into. I just want to talk about my upbringing as far as to paint a picture of who I am today. My mom and them was very religious. We had to go to church every day. Most of the time during the week, we went to Darren McCoy's Blue Tent at 401 Walton Way. So Darren McCoy had a big blue tent, looked like a circus. It was a circus tent. And he used to set it up and he used to start playing. He played a guitar. And he used to start playing at about 6 and he gonna stop at about 12. And every lady in church wanted Darren McCoy. Every lady in church wanted Darren McCoy. Mommy used to get mad because he had a wife and she had had a nervous breakdown because of all of what went on in their marriage. I don't want to talk about that. But Darren McCoy is the first. Is I went to him. You'll see these different pivotal points as I go through part 1 of my testimonial. Because guess what I went to Darren McCoy for to pray about? Guess what I went to Darren McCoy at 9 years old and I prayed about? Guess what I went to him and prayed about? Not guess, not believe it. And if God is my witness, he gonna come through this conversation and something else before I turn this live off, and you gonna see it in Jesus' name. Watch, God gonna come through one more time with an amazing epiphany or a revelation somewhere that I'm gonna say before this is over. I went to Darren McCoy at 9 years old, and I stood there in the prayer line, and that man was standing there dripping with sweat, and he looked just like my daddy, Donald Washington. He looked just like him. But I didn't know how Donald Washington looked then. I found out later when I got older. We'll talk about that in part 3. But I met Darren McCoy, and he called the line, and he was dripping wet, and he only wore all black. I don't know where he got it back then, but back then he was wearing slim fit. That was a fine preacher, and he was wearing slim fit back then. And he had a slim fit black shirt and black pants. That's all he used to wear. And he said, "What you need prayer for?" And I said, "My dreams." And then he said, "What's wrong?" And then I said, "My dreams." Now I said, "I just be seeing a lot of stuff in my dreams." I saw the end of the world when I was 9 years old. And I went and did not know what God was putting in my heart back then. I had no clue. And so I could see clearly how God's hand was on me at that time. And mommy told me I was 9 years old. 9 was such a year for me. And mommy said, I remember it like yesterday. Mommy said, "Chris, you're gonna be." We used to walk to the store every night when she lived on Evangeline. They had separated because mommy would not let the scripture go that women are supposed to be quiet in the church. So daddy said he was not gonna have mommy keep getting up there every Sunday talking in Bishop's. I forgot his name, but he was downtown. And mommy used to get up talking in that man church every Sunday, and all the men used to be looking at mommy like she was so out of order and disrespectful, and so daddy would be embarrassed. And so daddy said he wasn't gonna have it anymore. So they separated over that scripture, let every woman be silent in the church. And it wasn't about money, it wasn't about nothing else, it was about that. They separated about that. And we went to live on Evangeline, and that's when a white Mexican man, uh, he was tall, and he was in a Mazda with blinds on the back, shutters, and it was two-door, and it looked like um, the car from Back to the Future, something like that. It looked like that. It was like a champagne gold, and he was white, and I was running and playing outside by myself. Mommy was going to work at Wife Savers, and Daddy was mad about that too. And it was me and Gwanda, and Gwanda didn't care nothing about me. And Derek was gone with Daddy. Daddy had custody of Derek, so Derek could go to work, and it was just me and Gwanda. And I was outside playing, and the man said, come get this mail. And I said, all right. And he said, come get your mom's mail. And he held his hand out, and he was facing this. So if we're on Evangeline, the house was on this side. We had the corner house. He was coming from this way at the stop sign. And he said, come on, get this mail. And I said, all right. And I walked up to the car, and the Lord was just with me. And I don't know what happened at that moment. I just know that I felt something say no. And I started to slow down because I was running at first, and I started to slow down. And I just looked at the man more. He had dark hair. He was really hairy. He had hair around here, around his mouth, and he had on a trench coat, and it was hot. And I just got close enough to where I could peek in the car, and he was butt naked. He had on nothing, and that trench coat was open. And I started screaming, and I ran in the house. And he like sped out of there on two wheels. And to this day, I remember what that car looks like. And I ran in the house and told Juan that a man tried to grab me and that he had mail. And Mommy came, and Mommy called the police, and the police put me in the back of the car with Mommy, and they drove me around, and they asked me to show them where the car was and to show them what direction the car went. And I said, right. They said, we just gonna ride you around and you tell us where you see this car. And I never seen the car. And so Mommy called Daddy. And then Daddy said Mommy was out of the will of God for having us over there without a covering. And that's when Mommy and Daddy went out for ice cream, and Mommy didn't come back that night. Next thing you know, they went out and they bought a house, and we moved in 2844 Coniston Drive. And that was like in no direct order in that way, but it happened fast after that. And Daddy told Mommy to bring nothing out of that house, nothing, that much money. And so he walked in there, and Mommy said, we need to move our stuff. And Daddy said, don't bring nothing out of here. Nothing. And so we didn't. We left our house just like it was, and we ran out of there and got in the car with Daddy and that nice new Cadillac, and we went home. And they never separated anymore after that. And so that was the first level of trauma. And then at 9, mommy told me we used to walk to the store to Circle K um, to get um, ice cream sandwiches. Me and mommy both like ice cream sandwiches. So we would go, and then we would go and get those, and she would say, all right. We would talk about different things. She was like, what's on your mind tonight? I would tell her little stuff happened at school or whatever. And she was like, all right. And then so we talked, and she would say, she said, Chris, and I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I want to tell you something. I will never forget it. And she said, a lot of people ain't gonna like you, Chris. And she said, I want you to know that. And she said, but God has his hands on you, and you going to be special. And she said, and you gonna be a teacher. And she said, and you gonna be a big evangelist for God, and a lot of people are going to follow you. And she said, and so don't you worry about being popular, because you are is going to do something. And she said, and your sisters, they jealous of you. She said, all of your sisters are jealous of you because you got something in you that God put in you. And I was 9 years old. And then 9 was when Daryl McCoy prayed for me, and I went to him because I didn't understand why I was seeing visions about the world. And so he prayed for me. And he told me every night before I went to bed to pray. And I went to sleep that night, and I slept so good. After that man prayed for me, I slept so good. Other than that, I always used to have to sleep with Gwanda, or was always afraid. Always. And so, moving forward, I was everybody in school. Going to school was, I didn't have any bad times in elementary school. I got by. People used to call me Big Lips, only Chanel Durham. And, but we were friends later, but she drew a circle on a piece of paper and just habits on it, and everybody in the class was laughing. And by the time the piece of paper got to me, I didn't think it was very funny, but you remember what people do to you when you're kids. And so now these men love my lips, and people buy them. And imagine her saying that when her mouth is not small, and she was jiving on my lips so bad. But she's gorgeous, but she was jiving on my lips so bad, and I felt so bad. And I was not very cute. I didn't get cute until just seemed like overnight I woke up and everybody was like, "Oh my God, you gorgeous!" Like it just was like overnight. Like I like from no, it's not happening. 6, 7, no, it's not happening. 8, no, ninth grade. Wow, look at Chrissy. It was like that. And I had like a little flat stomach and a big chunky booty, just like evolved into like this, like, I don't know. It just seemed like overnight I just had pow and big booty and big breasts, and I was a 30 something C, and ninth grade, had boobs like 38, 36C in ninth grade. I mean, so I was like, you know, definitely in there. So I get to have a boyfriend. Mommy was very strict. And Nika, my cousin, used to taunt me on why I couldn't go nowhere. And every time I call her, she'd be like, "Oh, I'm going out. Oh, I'm going this and this, that, and the other. Oh, I gotta call you back. I'm going out." And I could never go out. So I felt so bad that I could never go anywhere, and Nika was getting to go to all these different places. And so I used to just feel left out. And anytime I would call and want to talk on the phone, I couldn't. So I was 13, and I used to get to hang with my Crystal. And Vina is my stepsister that died when I was about 13. And so mommy got custody of her kids for a little while. And Crystal used to live and Crystal used to live with Vina, and Crystal and mommy let me go to her, and we weren't even the same age. She was younger than me, but mommy would only let me go to the mall with her every other Saturday. It was very boring and very strict. And so we go to the mall from 5 to 9, 5 o'clock, and she picked me up at 9. We could go to the mall and hang out. So this particular Saturday, I wanted to go to Fun Factory at Augusta Mall, at Regency Mall, and I wanted to go hang out and be with my friends. Tasha Foreman and all of them was going to be there. So I wanted to go too. So we went, and when we got to the mall, Fun Factory was in the back of the mall. So Fun Factory is in the back of the mall, and we're going to the mall, and everybody's going, and we're hanging out. Then this is when going in the mall, and so I see like a group of friends, and so they're like, "You go to Fun Factory?" And I'm like, "No." And then so they was like, "You should go to Fun Factory, girl." I'll never forget what I had on and the way my hair was. I had on a white T-shirt and some stone washed fitted jeans, and I had on some type of Nikes or something like that, and I had my hair up in a ponytail with the little cone, Egyptian cone on it, and I had a flat bang, and I had on a little bit of lipstick and stuff. And so I went back there, and I told Crystal to come with me, and you better not say anything, and I'll let you play the games. And I'll give you the money that I was supposed to eat with, and I'll let you play games with, but you better not say nothing. That we walked from the mall. So we walked to the back of the mall, and we go to Fun Factory, and that's when I had my second traumatic experience. I got raped, and I got raped by guys that I went to school with. And it was really one guy, because the other guys didn't get a chance, because the manager of Fun Factory walked in and made them put their clothes on and get out of the bathroom. And they were locking the door. Johnny Williams was. It was Johnny Williams, Mike Ivory, Ty Chaney, and I didn't know the other boy. And so I just left and went out, and Crystal was waiting, and I was like, I'm ready to go. And I did. And so it took me a while. I held that in till I got sick. And that's when I developed anxiety. And I was so sick that I thought I was pregnant. I had actually brought on the symptoms of I was sick. I was throwing up, could not eat anything. I was literally sick. And I went to tell mommy. I think he had given me like chlamydia. And I went to the doctor, and mommy took me. And so I thought it would be safe to tell mommy in the public and not by myself. So we went there. I told her something was wrong and wasn't feeling right. I didn't tell her about that yet. And then when we went to the mall again, we ate. We went to get food from upstairs, and we were eating in the Chinese place. And I said, I want to tell you about a friend of mine, Tasha. And I told her the whole story, but I said it was Tasha. And then she said, Is that you? And then I just started crying. And that, believe it or not, Ty was in the mall that day. And so we were coming out of the mall, and that was the first time I had seen him since that. And we lived next door to each other. We lived at 3921 Dingsbridge Road or 3621 Dingsbridge Road by Burger King. And then I lived right next door in that long brick house. And that was the first time I seen him since that. And I couldn't believe that I seen him, and I didn't want to see him. And so when mommy had said, Who is it? Ain't that him? She said, Ain't that the boy? And I said, Oh my God. And mommy said, Sit here. And she went to talk to him by herself. And I said, That's a wrap. This is over. Can't go back to school now. And so mommy said, came back after a few minutes and said, He said you wanted it. And he said he didn't rape you. And I didn't say nothing. I just let it go. I didn't say nothing. And I was mad at her for going to say something to him, to embarrass me like that. And when we got home, I didn't get a whooping, but she told everybody in the house at dinner. Everybody. And I was so embarrassed that she told Daddy. I was so embarrassed that she told Daddy. Because Daddy looked at me like I was so innocent. And when she told Daddy, I just felt disgusted. And Derek said, Well, nigga. And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I know you to my little truck in the next door. I didn't want to talk about it. I was so humiliated. And I don't know what Derek said. Derek went and told him something, and I never seen that boy again. I'm talking about from that day, he never came to school. I don't know what happened with that boy. I don't know what his mamas told him. I don't know what happened. I never heard nothing about my what happened at school. So Derek was like a hero to me. He was like everybody at school thought everybody it was me and Tanya Nugent. So all the girls used to want to be friends with us because our brothers was fine. But Tanya Nugent brother didn't have cars and stuff like Derek had. So Derek had like everything. Like Derek was like Derek. Who did you ride with Derek? It's like riding with Jay-Z. Like you everybody loved De'Aaron. Like, and he got the flyest cars with the loudest music, and he know how to do all this stuff. And they like, you are just like, so it's like I got the finest brother in the world, and he has all of this like stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was like amazing. I got my life back, and got my life back. Hadn't won my reputation at school, thank God. And so I never got to go to parties. So it was this big party. I had met this guy named Raider Miller III. And I wanted to go to this party. Raider was going. And my, you know, uh, you know, threat back then was Hope Lambright. And so, she wanted Raider, and so did I. And they said she was going to the party. So I had come up with all these different lies to ask mommy how I could go, and it was no to everything. I mean, mommy was like smart, and then like I really think that mommy had like a gift, because you couldn't just go to mommy. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. I literally think that the Lord used to be like right there with her. Don't even try it. The Lord said that is not true, and I'd be like, God darn, he just sell me out every time over it. So just what happened. So I wanted to go to this party. Mommy said no. So I went into the room, and this was the first time that I tried to kill myself. And I really was just trying to get attention, but at the same time, I really don't think that I cared if I did. And so I took an entire bottle of, I think it was probably like 30 of Excedrin PMs. I took all of them. And all I know is I woke up the next morning in a pool of vomit. And I was sad that nobody had come to check on me. Nobody. Uh, and this was we had two houses on Deansbridge Road at one time on opposite sides, not at the same time. Opposite sides. So this was 3621 Deansbridge Road, the white lone trailer. And then this was, I think, 3921 or something like that. But either way, 3421 Deansbridge Road. So it was both on sides. So this was happening at the trailer. So I had the first room next to the long porch, that first room right there next to the door. That was my room. And I just went in there and I took all the pills. And that was it. And it was Excedrin PM. I knocked out. And I guess I was up in my sleep, and God just protected me. Nothing happened. I woke up, didn't even have diarrhea, didn't have nothing. It was fine. And then it happened again because Raider had sex with Hope Lambright. And everybody was talking about it at school. So by now, me and Raider are going together, and I am in love. And so, and good deal and whatnot. Me and those, and I took those at school. I was at school. I went to school, and everybody was telling me that Hope was with Raider at the party, and that they had sex and this and the other, and now Raider was going with Hope. And so I went to the bathroom, and I took them all. I went to Miss Pete's class, and I was sitting in class, and Keon Sanders was sitting back to me. God bless his soul, he's dead now. He was sitting in the back of me, and he was real popular. So he was sitting in the back of me, and I was sitting in the front, and I just kept burping. And then next thing you know, he was like, "What in the world?" And so I did it again, and it just went all over the classroom. Like it just came out like, and I threw up everywhere. And Miss Peets was like, "Go to the uh, office." I went to the office, and I was laying up in there, and I was dry heaving then, and mommy comes and calls mommy, and she comes up there, wig crooked. Oh my God, she do too much. And she gets up there, and the lady says, she's in the back, and don't let her go to sleep. She overdosed. This is the pills that we found in her purse. Um, Go ahead and call. We got called the hospital already. This, that, and the other. Mommy go. We're flying. They're like, I think the police was in front of mommy or something like that. Mommy's driving with her caution lights on, and this is the rain. So I'm sitting over there, and I done nodded off. Mom slapped me so hard. I think she thought I had died, and she was like, that's the first time I ever seen her do emotions like where she's really trying to like I like she didn't say it, but I knew she loved me right then. I mean, she slapped me so hard to get me woke. You know what I'm saying? And so I woke up. God, Lee, I was so scared to go back to sleep again, but I couldn't help it. And so I was dozing, and she kept pulling me. And we got to the hospital, and then went to University Hospital, and they gave me charcoal and inside of a Coke to pump my stomach. And then they came in there and they asked me why, and they were trying to see if they were going to admit me. But I said, so when I got to talking, the psychologists and everything that came in there, they was like, I'm gonna break. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, nope, you are bright. That was the word. You are bright. You are going home with your bright self. You can make it. You'll survive. God, trying to get out. Nope, not going. You're going. I want to make it feel like I gotta go. Like, no, it's not happening. You're going back home. Then I was there before school even let out. Fuck, all this nothing. Fuck. Effing mouth. So I wish I was my cousin right there. We laughed about 20 minutes and laughing. We had so many jokes going back and forth for that. That's what we do when we really feel like it's been a bad day. That means that you're tired to do something. So we would draw that out about 20 minutes. I miss me. I did home, and I thought I was going to my room. Oh no, that's not happening. What is going on with you? And so I told mommy. Mommy was actually such a great sense. I think she was so scared that she was gonna lose me because the first time she didn't know about it, and I didn't tell her. So this is like the second time, and she didn't know, and so she is like, she really was like upset. She was hurt. So she gave me her version of what men are capable of, and that she told me she loved me, that I was special, that it'll be another guy, and that, she let me stay home. I think she got me something to eat. She let me sleep in the living room. She didn't want me by myself. Like I slept in the living room on her splash furniture. That's back then when they had that splash furniture at Holly Myers with the little pink stripe and the tear stripe and the green stripe. Oh, child, you sleeping on that? Mommy let me sleep on that. That was like nobody sleeping on the splash. You know what I'm saying? That was top of the line back then. You know what I'm saying? Nobody sleeping on the splash. I got to sleep on the splash. Mommy let me sleep on it. And so I felt really, she couldn't my favorite thing on it. Like she just did so much that day. Gwanda could give a damn. Why she died. Like she didn't. Gwanda never had a sister relationship because I think she was always jealous because we had opposite relationships with our parents. She was what I wanted to be to daddy, and I was what she wanted to be to mommy. But I was still special to daddy, and Gwanda wanted it all. Um, and so we always had issues with her wearing my clothes, Gwanda doing stuff. And then I was really always telling. I was definitely a tattletale. I will own that. And now that I am older, I can see why she definitely hated me because I definitely got her into some serious trouble that changed the trajectory of her life. So she dropped out of school because she got a whooping because I told. And I used to be happy to tell. This is beans. I got beans. I'm going to tell. Like, I don't like you, and I'm going to tell. No, I'm going to tell. And they couldn't do nothing to stop. I would holler, Mom. That's it. Once I say that mommy already know. Chris, come here. I already know. So I could be like upstairs, and I could just go in the room and say, Mom, and that's it. That's it. I'm the baby. Mommy is calling. What happened? What's wrong? What's wrong? Yeah, Gwanda did it. What? What did she do? Gwanda is going to a party, and she is going with a boy. And I know where it is. Like I was always that. So, but Derek, nope. No, we never had that dynamic. Derek did what he wanted to do anyway because he was a boy, and so he didn't have any room because he was a boy. They always said that because he was a boy, and so he could go wherever he wanted to go. He could do whatever he wanted to do, and you could not stop him because that was Daddy's boy, and you know what I'm saying. And so Derek was always spoiled and had a wonderful, privileged upbringing, unlike us girls. So, so Raider and I dated in high school, if you want to call it that. Went together. He used to go to church. That's all the only place Mom used to let us go, church together. And then moving forward, this will be the third traumatic experience. I got well, and so I got raped by his dad. And so I don't want to talk about that either. I'm not going to talk about that. Um, and so the fifth event would have been Raider's daddy. I mean, Raider died. They said, which I do not believe. I definitely believe it was some hanky panky because Raider was not that type. But we're in Augusta, and they don't. Tony is racist. They said that went into the store with a gun to hold it up, and he was not. Raider was a nerd. Okay, talk, play games, and act like he's something that he's not. But a gangster, no. He used to hang with Robert. You know what I'm saying? That lived with both of his parents and was a nerd and had a Honda Civic. Like, no. And was not even popular with girls like that. No, Raider was not that type. And they said that the man shot him in the ear, it lodged through his brain, and he didn't make it. So it was hard for me to go to that funeral. It was very hard because his daddy was there, his mama was there, and it was a lot of friction because I was in the family. Like all the sisters, those are my sisters, and all of this. So I went with a lot of baggage. And I'm trying to think of the song. It was by Gerald Levert that played when he died. And I'm not gonna, I don't know why I want to relive that memory, but I'm not. Um, but it was tough. And I dreamed about him. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I was screaming. And mommy came. And mommy came and she was there. She was there. And she stayed in the room with me that night. And she started praying. And she was just, mommy was a prayer warrior. Nothing wasn't getting past mommy without praying. And she prayed. I remember what I wore. I wore an all black bell bottom outfit. I was bad. Was dressed nice. Waiter had so many people to come to that funeral. It was so crowded. And the girl that wanted him after me, she had her stinking self on the front row. And was saying, you ain't family. And I'm trying to think of who I went with. I went with somebody. I can't remember who I went with. But I rode with somebody. And it was tough. It was definitely tough. I went to the funeral and I went to the wake. I went to the burial site and his daddy was there. And I didn't want that. I just acted like nothing had happened. His mom knew. They knew. They said I wasn't the only one. He had a pattern and I didn't want to talk about it. And so after that, I met Robert Thomas, and we met at the mall. And Robert was about 19, and I looked older than I was. And I was about 15, 16. And Robert was like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything to me. Like that boy was like they used to call him Pee Wee. I still remember his phone number. And like uh, they used to call him Pee Wee. And his name was Robert. I met him at the Augusta Mall. And I was so fast. We went to the store and I tried on all these bikinis for him and let him see. And I was just doing the most. And so Robert and I'm trying to think where did we have sex at? We had sex somewhere at the mall. And he put a hickey on my neck. And he put a hickey on my neck. And I felt so good while he was doing it. I could not stop him. Like, if you've never had somebody put a hickey on your neck, you have not lived. You ain't lived till you had a hickey. I'm telling you. I don't care how old you are. Let a man put a hickey on your neck and know how to do it right. You cannot have a lot of spit. I know you didn't just spit on me. They got to do it right, but their mouth is still dry. That when they finish doing it, it's nothing there. You cannot have nothing. I know you didn't let nothing run down for to punch you. That is not turn off. It got to be dry. He got to know what he's doing. And Pee Wee did it very well. And he had hickeys on both sides. And I could not stop him. And I knew what he was doing. But I was like, oh, God, that feels so good. I never had that before. And so, like, he had me after that. Like, that's a wrap. take the draws. I will get whatever when I get home. I do not care. At this moment, I will run away with you. And so I went to school the next day. And so when I went home, it was late. It was dark. Mommy didn't see it. I was able to go in the room, take a bath, and hair get into bed. Mommy didn't see it. Good. I had to call Tasha. She said, put a cold spoon on your neck. Somebody said, put ice. I got all these. Somebody said, put makeup. I got all these different things. Gwanda ain't. She will tell. So I said, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on turtleneck. Stupid. And it's hot. I put on turtleneck. Mommy took me downtown. We going to do something. And she was paying for gas. And I'm paying. I paid for gas and I had to pump. Mommy had a long black Electra 225. Looked like a funeral car. And I'm at that, and I done messed around and turned to the side and all that sun. And Mommy said, come here, Alpha. I said, oh my God. I was not laughing. I'm laughing. Mommy said, come here, Heifer. I said, ma'am. She said, pull that turtleneck down. I said, whoo. She said, pull it down. I pulled it down. It was a hickey right down. She said, pull it upside down. I pulled it down, the hickey right down. She slapped me. That man said, at the start, that man said, you ain't got to hit that gal like that. Mommy said, shut up if I get out of this car and hit you too. That man said, whoa. That man said, whoa. Mommy didn't play. I got hit the whole way home. I'm talking about every time she got to a light, pap, like, pap. I mean, I just never knew when they was coming. Just wait. Just get knocked all upside the head. I just got light knocked out. So we go home, and I'm thinking it's over. I've gotten a whooping or beating. No, it's not over. We're going to have fun with this, Mommy said. Oh, get the phone. Man, give me the phone. Phone for what? I'm going to call that blood-sucking vomit. I'm going to call the blood-sucking vomit. He don't have a phone. Yes, he does. Oh, Lord. Mommy calls, and I'm getting in trouble. Them runs in the living room because Mommy have custody of Sharon kids right now. We're on Deansbridge Road on the right side, and 21 Deansbridge Road. So they runs in the living room, and Bertrana Albert says, yeah, and they be in the house wrestling too while you be gone. That's what they call making out, that the grown people be wrestling. That was it. Wrestle with me. You're done. She said, get the belt and give me the phone. I gave her the phone number. Mommy called that boy's mama and said, I need you to keep your blood-sucking vomit away from my house before I call the police on him because he's too old for my daughter and I would press charges. So Pee-wee got the message. And why did Pee-wee come to the house that night? Oh. You trying to get me. You trying to get me hurt. Because mom and daddy don't know no boundaries when it comes down to no belt. These people are not wrapped too tight. So Gwanda gets up, Pee Wee knocks on Gwanda's window. And Gwanda gets up and say, Chris got a boy knocking at this. Oh my God, Chris, I'm asleep. I didn't know anything about you in here. Whooping again. Now all I hear is Daddy saying you're gonna have to do something with that can. Oh my God. If Daddy done said something, Mommy finna go up here. If Daddy didn't say nothing, Mommy would have stayed down here. Daddy say something, Mommy. Whew. Oh God. I already don't get to go nowhere. All I do is stay home and babysit Sharon's children. I'm in trouble. So that's it for Pee Wee. I sneak and call him when Mommy be gone to church. But the Albert and Bertrand, she would tell them to tell if I was on the phone. And they will tell. So that wasn't working anymore. So I was just miserable. I would try to sneak sometimes and call from school. But I couldn't talk to him. So moving past that, I was in high school, and the next event of trauma was I got in a fight with Michelle. And so Michelle Griffin, we were at school, and so Derek had back to Derek. Derek had this Fred Sanford truck, and it was dark green, and it had the humps in the back of the, the what you call the humps in the back of the cover on the trunk. And he had dropped me off. It wasn't this day, but he had dropped me off. And so he pulled in the bus circle. So all of the kids, if you get there like 7:15, right before 7:30 and the bell ring, it's crowded out there, none but teenagers. And so Derek pulled in the circle. Let's get naked. If you want to see me naked, then you gotta say, take it off. And I felt like, I felt like, yes, I am Beyonce going to school. I was cute. So I done got cute now. I'm in the 9th grade. I done got cute. So I done got cute. I got a big butt. And guys be really trying to talk to me. So Derek pulls up, drops me off. So he's getting me popular in school because she got a fine brother. And you know what I'm saying? And she be dressed nice and it's fun. Plus he used to draw all kind of art on my jeans. And so he had drew Bart Simpson down the leg of my jeans. It was cool back then to draw on your jeans. So I get to school this day, and I'll never forget what I have on. I had on an orange t-shirt and these jeans, and I had a hole in this leg and Bart Simpson in this leg. And I had just got Mommy to buy me those Patrick Ewing sneakers with the ball inside that everybody had. So I got them to school. I got my Patrick Ewings on. I got my jeans bus, and I am going with Rico Lewis. And which is like a high-ranking dude. So he's the school dude with the letter and all of that. You're like cool, and you gotta get your dude's jacket. So that was like my thing I was working on to be his girl. Like this is just our first time. I get off the bus and there is Joanne that starts she is in every argument that occurs at school, and she wears and she talks and gossips so much it don't make no sense, and she starts so much drama. So she tells Michelle Griffin that I said something about her, and that I said something about her and Rico. I didn't know what she was talking about. I hadn't said anything. So I get off the bus, and I have the worst luck you ever want to have. I get off the bus, and I'm on the 3rd step. I'm coming down, and they meet me. There she go. Oh my God, I'm on the stairs to the bus. Here comes this whole crowd of at least 70, 80 kids, and Joanne leading the pack like Fat Albert. And here's Michelle Griffin. And I'm on the step, and Michelle is at the bus. And so she said, "What you say about me, bitch? Tell me this and that. Oh, you said this about Rico? I don't know what you're talking about." And I had gum in my mouth, and I was going to just try to let it go. I took the gum out of my mouth and I tossed it, and I saw the mistake in slow motion. And if you could just like remake this a scene from Everybody Hates Chris or something like that, you could just see and then read the thoughts in my mind. Oh no, this is gonna go left. I meant to throw it out. It went right on Michelle's forehead, and I just saw the trickle of spit. Oh no, no. Do not. Is it too late for me to say? Can I say I'm sorry about that? So, oh my God, now I gotta fight. My new Patrick Ewing doesn't even want to fight. So we start fighting, and Michelle pulls me off the bus like this. So I can't let her pull me off the bus because I'm gonna miss these stairs and I'm gonna fall, and I don't know where Rico is. So all of this is going through my mind. So only thing I can think of to do, let her pull the shirt, and I come out of it and tangle her and start fighting. So I did that, and to let her, I came out of the shirt, and I got the best of her, and I done used that leverage to jump. Now I'm on top of her. We're on the ground. Please tell me why she didn't just grab the shirt. She grabbed my bra. So I'm out there with all my boobs out. 36 C's, ninth grade, flat stomach, big booty, jeans and tennis shoes on, fighting on top of Michelle. And everybody done forgot about the fight. And all you hear is, titties. That's all you hear. Somebody hung my bra on the home of the Spartans sign at the entrance of the school. I could not get it back. My shirt was torn. Coach Quarles is a man. And they said that this is what he was doing the whole time breaking up the fight. Calm down, Crystal. Calm down. So they took me in. I had to go straight to the principal's office. Michelle did too. We got suspended for 10 days for fighting. I was humiliated. So I get up there. They brought me and put me in a shirt. And I leave the office. And the first thing I'm doing is I got to go see who they say won this. You know what I'm saying? Because we really didn't get a chance to fight, but I was on top of her. So who they say won. So I go to Nika classroom, get her out of class. And I was like, who they said won? She was like, girl, they say you did. And she was like, you might have. So we fight. And she was like, some people say Michelle did, but most of the people that you did because you was on top of when they pulled it up. They really say y'all didn't really get a chance to fight because you really, Nika was saying it. So I was like, all right, good. She was like, but I was like, but they don't say I got beat up. She was like, no, you didn't get beat up. And I was like, she was like, you don't even have no marks on you. She was like, oh, I was like, all right, cool. So that's all you care about as a teenager. Okay, who they say won. So I come out of there and I go back to the office. When I go back to the office, the girl is up there. And so I'm like, so mommy comes up there. Her mama comes up there. Her mama got big weave. Mommy got big wigs. So these is two big wigs up in the office. So mommy comes up there and she's like, mommy didn't care nothing about no fight. I'm not gonna get in trouble about that. So mommy was like, I wasn't worried about getting in trouble because mommy don't whoop you about fights. So you could do anything like that and you're not in trouble. So so I was like, she was like, where the girl at? So that's her right there. So mom was like, where her mom is right there. So mom was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute, man?" So like she was like, "I don't agree with my daughter fighting or whatever, but if she was defending herself or whatever, I don't know what happened." She said, "But I think that we should make these two girls hug and trust in the Lord." Come on, are you here? How dare you? Are you embarrassing me again? So mommy says, hug it out and pray. Hello, ma'am. I cannot be seen hugging her. So oh my God. So Harper left. Her mom was down with it too. Her mom was the same way. So we had to hug and we went, hurry up and get this up with because I really don't like you and you better not tell nobody that I did this. And you don't either. So we left it like that. We still not talking. We just doing this because we know we gonna get in trouble if we don't. So I left, got home. As soon as I got home, the phone rang. Hello. Can I speak to quick? This how? Hey, what's up, man? Nothing. What happened? What was up with you today? Nothing. Look, I can't be like in no mess like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a reputation. You know, he used to go with Chanel Durham for a long time. Like they were supposed to get married. So like he was like, I got a reputation. Oh my God. No, let me get the freaking leather jacket. That's all I cared about. I didn't care what that's about what he's saying. I'm not gonna get the jacket. That was fight. So we broke up. And he was like, I can't be with you because you got in a fight and I don't want a girl that's fighting. So that was the end of it. So after that, I dropped out of high school. So I guess you can say you kind of reap what you sow because Gwanda got put out of high school and got embarrassed. I got in a fight and got embarrassed. So I got out of high school. Mommy said I didn't have to go back if I didn't want to. And I said, all right, cool, I won't. So I think I went back for like a little bit. And then I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. And so, it's like I told you, education wasn't important like that to mommy. She said, if you ain't going to work, then you got to get a job. So, I mean, if you ain't going to go to school, you got to get a job. You can't be in the house. So, Easter, I got me a job. This was before the fight. Easter got me a job. And, what's the name of that neighborhood? Well, I know the address is Bristol Conway. And I forgot the neighborhood, but it's Bristol Conway. Conifer Place. Yay! I loved it. Like, I was in the richest of the rich people. Like, Easter only used to get rich, like rich, like rich. Like, this lady, one lady that Easter did a contract for had like a 25,000 square foot home, like rich, like that, like right there, like mega man, luxury where celebrities will live. Like East was getting contracts there. So she got me one with Mr. and Mrs. Aberson. And so I was working there, taking care of, I don't know who that little boy's name was, I forgot. But I used to have a job and I didn't work about 3 weeks. He got fired, arguing with the boss. And so he used to got me fired. So and I never got another job. So I was babysitting the little boy from like 6 to 9, from like 4 to 7. No, from like 1 to 6. Yeah, it's like 1 to 6. And so them white people did not want mommy's black electric 225 coming in their neighborhood. I'm trying to tell you. Them white people saying mommy coming over there picking me up. Them people called. And when mommy came, they told the security around the time that the car be coming through there and who be driving it, even though it was clean, all that, and was classic. That. don't want that car in here. And I think they did it because it was black people in it. They said back then the only black people that lived in that neighborhood was Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs, and she was my teacher. She was my teacher too. Miss Hobbs was my teacher, and she lived on Conner Lane, all the way in the back in the cul-de-sac. Dr. Hobbs, they lived there. Biggest house in there. They like love it, love it. So they was my teachers. She was my teacher, and I used to love to go to class and hear about her rich life and all the money she had and how she did not need to be there at that school and all the fascinating things that she used to do. And lady never wore the same pair of earrings ever. She wore a different pair of earrings to school every single day, and they went with, and she had on whatever she bought. If she wore a hat and a scarf, then earrings matched the scarf. She had it. I used to look at her every day, and she used to wear coming out with the most expensive Dooney and Burke and Louis Vuitton bags, and I used to just look at her and say, "God, I remember Miss Hobbs. God, and she don't even have to be here. She was working strictly just to throw money in the bank because she didn't need it at all. Her husband was the director of the hospital. She didn't need no money at all. I used to let that be clear. I don't have to be here. My husband is a doctor, and he's over the hospital. So I used to like Miss Hobbs. So I didn't go. I used to go to class. And I was my friend. Like she was my teacher. She was like my friend. I go on and talk to Miss Hobbs and hear about her rich life. You know, so, like she was fascinating to me. Like, and she was sophisticated. Like she was like, oh my God, are you rich? Like real rich, like rich, like TV rich. Like she that. Like I love it. And she was black. And so I didn't have the job that long. And so after that, let's say nothing much pretty went on in my life after that. It pretty much died down. And then I got pregnant when I was 18 by Timothy Davis. And that's the guy that mommy told me to, hey guys, like guys like really wanted to be with me. Like I had like a couple engagements around then. The guy Corey Moore, who I named Corey after, had asked me to marry him, and mommy told me not to marry him. He didn't have enough. And so Tim asked me to marry him, and mommy said marry him. And he wanted to be me wrong. And he cheated on me, and I said, I'm going to get a cheating, you ugly black fans. Like, you are so ugly. You really cheated? For real? You know how many people that I really like, I was cute. And he cheated, child. But that boy had spoiled me and bought me so much stuff, I really didn't care. I really didn't. I was more mad about the gifts that I'm not going to get. That man gave me a lot when I was dating him, and he made really, really good money. And that's what mommy had saw. And so she wanted me to have a guy that was going to be able to take care of me. And then Roosevelt Magruder asked to marry me too. And he was like, was in line to inherit his daddy's car shop, auto shop. And he ended up dying. But later, way later. But that was pretty much it. So I had a lot going on in my childhood. I wasn't very close to my siblings. Me and Easter always had a touch and go. Like we would be cool for like we could play and get along really, really good. And then if you really think that you got Easter, that you're gonna get her to do what you want to do, you're gonna get surprised. That ain't gonna happen. Easter don't roll like that. Like you can like we would talk like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that Friday we're gonna fall out. And then we're gonna fall out again Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're gonna be best friends, and then Thursday and Friday we're gonna fall out, and it works like that. That's how it goes with Easter. You don't get to talk to her every day, like when you get ready. No. So but Easter and I always was the closest. Sharon took me out when only got to go with her like I remember my whole life one time and I was 13. That's when she was doing rock. She had a blue Century 4-door Buick Century, like like a, I don't know how to describe it, but it was a navy blue car, and she used to keep that thing so clean. I mean, pristine. But she was doing heavy wrong. And she came and took me, and I asked Mommy, can I please go with Sharon one time? And she said, yeah, you could go. And that's when Sharon used to be bad. She used to keep her hair done, and she used to wear little to no clothes. And if a man said something to her, it was the end of the world, honey. Her booty was big, and she had a flat stomach, and she loved to dance, and she used to go to the club every single night. And she used to wear contacts, and her hair used to be bad. And if you say anything to her, that's a wrap. So she took me to Montgomery Wards, and she told me to buy an outfit. Bought me a white t-shirt and some army pants, and she bought me some socks. And that's the only time she ever took me anywhere and spent any money on me. In stores, come out. Go in stores, come out. Go in stores, come out. Pull up this way, come out. And she didn't play, and she used to just throw her stuff in the car and keep it moving. But I wanted to go out with her because Sharon was like my favorite sister, because I used to love how she dressed, and like how she, not the clothes part, I just used to like how she was the only one that was like was on that level. Like her hair gonna stay fly, her hair gonna stay done. I'm talking about stay done. And she did it herself. Like all of us girls could do hair. Every one of us. All of us do hair. Like shop. Like if you was to put me in a hair shop right now, I ain't never been to no school, but I could do better than what them girls do. I just look at videos to get inspiration, but I've always had that in me. Like I used to do hair when I was like 17, 18, and I was doing ladies' hair that worked for the law. Like worked at like Holly, Frida and them, like they worked for Georgia State. They worked for the law, the government. Like they worked for them, like in like defects and stuff like defects. But yeah, I think Sarita did work at defects, like somewhere like that. Like they worked like in the law. Like so I didn't have like ratchet girls. I was working with women. Like I was in that 17 talking about they telling me what their boyfriends did and getting advice. Like they you come to me like seriously getting their hair done and getting advice and then telling me how it worked. Like I was really advising them and doing their hair. And they would be telling me and they'd be like, ain't this what he did, Sean? That nigga cheated on me. What? Yes. And they would, and I'd be like, John, you need to do that. Okay, well, how did it go with this one? And like, we were really, like, mommy and daddy was really letting me do hair in my room. And daddy got me my first car. I had like $800. And I wanted this Grand Am that was so old. And it was white. And it was so old, child. And the thing was barely crank. And the man wanted $500 down. And I had only $800 and no job, no net. At then, you didn't need all that. So I had to wait. The man was down there in Walton Way. I was like 17. So I wanted the car so bad. So I had told mommy and daddy. And then mommy had took me down there. And daddy had seen. They was laughing at me. They just hadn't said nothing. And so they had looked at him. Daddy said, this is really what you want? I said, yes, Dad, please. And he was like, I got to test it out. If it ain't right, you ain't going to get it. I'm not going to let you put no money in it. And I was like, Daddy, please. And so he was like, I don't know. That don't look like, no, you need to wait till you. I was so sad. I loved what Daddy did. He just kept telling me you can do better and get more money. And I was like, Daddy, please. Child, Daddy said the next day, Daddy came and said, I'll take you down here and let you see his car. And Daddy said, I did a job. Man owed me some money. I took the money. You got a much better car from $500 now to $2,000 down? Oh we got me like a what was this was like I was like 18. I think it was like a 2000, like no, like a 1999 Hyundai, something like that. Child, but when I tell you that man sold lemons, that car broke in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But I ain't lie. It paid for itself. I kept getting I kept like people kept hitting it. I swear to God, people just kept hitting it. Like everywhere I went, I would come out, this thing got somebody else to hit it. This thing got hit. I'm in the car, they got bumped in the back. Like it kept mommy said it was the money signs. I didn't know. I just had mommy's like that car done paid for itself since you had it. And you keep getting in there. I come home, mom, somebody hit the car in the back. I come home, mom, somebody hit me in the back at the light. Every time. And so mommy said, "What?" I had money signs hanging up in the car. It was just an air freshener that I had got from AutoZone, and they was dollar bills, and I hung them up in there. And that car, I swear to God, that car ended up paying for itself, but it broke. So then after that, I got I think a Corsica, got a burgundy Corsica, and me and Janessa was riding in that, and we got in a wreck. A car hit us on Milledgeville Road on the right side, came and ambushed us and smacked us right on the side. Janessa knocked all the way over in my lap. And we did not care, child. We was still riding that car, still going to the club with that wreck and everything. I did not care. I didn't like it. I was embarrassed, but we still going out. We used to go to the pool. But that was pretty much it. I didn't have a very exciting childhood. I definitely didn't. I went to the prom, you know. It was nothing spectacular. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a real spectacular childhood. My life didn't get interesting until I think in part two when I got married. And I'll talk about that one probably tomorrow. Let me get myself a break, right, and go check in. I haven't used my phone. It's almost 11 o'clock. It's actually almost 12. And I got to use my phone. So I'm probably going to be back and then go from there. So I'll be back tomorrow and then I'll go into part two. So that was it. I'll be back tomorrow, and then anything else I want to say, then I'll probably add it in tomorrow. Okay, bye.